By the end of the 1960s, John Lennon had moved beyond simply composing tunes. He wandered into surreal imagery, playful language, and nonsense that somehow still clicked. The other Beatles even teased that he'd gone into Space Cadet territory, distant, ironic, amused by both everything and nothing all at once. Around that time, he created some of the oddest Beatles tracks ever put on record. A few resembled nursery rhymes twisted sideways. Others sounded like private jokes preserved on tape. Some were pure, playful chaos. Yet underneath the silliness, intention was always present. Here are 5 Beatles songs Lennon wrote while deep in that Space Cadet mindset. And at number 5 sits a royal nursery rhyme that seems gentle until you really hear it. Number 5, Cry Baby Cry, 1968. On the surface, Cry Baby Cry comes across like a children's tune. Light acoustic guitar, a tender melody, almost medieval-style imagery. The king of marigolds is in the kitchen cooking breakfast for the queen. It feels fanciful, but something feels slightly off. The figures seem distant, the narrative never really concludes. The mood changes without warning. John later revealed he borrowed fragments from an old nursery rhyme, then reshaped them into something darker, stranger, and faintly sarcastic. The track appears on the White Album, already packed with fragmented concepts and stylistic experiments, and Cry Baby Cry blends perfectly into that unpredictable atmosphere. The closing section, Can You Take Me Back Where I Came From, floats like a tape machine left recording too long. The gold was in the, it sounds deliberately incomplete. That's the Space Cadet quality. Lennon wasn't aiming for a sweeping emotional message. He was experimenting with structure, sound, and mood, gently unsettling the audience. Cry Baby Cry isn't a punchline-style joke. It's a quiet joke, a piece that wears innocence while subtly undoing it. And that detached surrealism would only intensify in the songs ahead. Number 4, Dig a Pony, 1969. If Cry Baby Cry was surreal nursery oddness, Dig a Pony shows Lennon completely unrestrained. Recorded during the chaotic Get Back sessions in January 1969, the song feels like a patchwork of unrelated phrases connected by attitude instead of logic. I dig a pony. Well, you can celebrate anything you want. What does it really mean? John later acknowledged the words were mostly nonsense, phrases chosen for sound and rhythm rather than clarity. This was classic Space Cadet mode, detached, ironic, and mildly amused by meaning itself. Yet the recording history adds another layer of intrigue. Dig a Pony was played live on the Apple rooftop on January 30th, 1969. That famous rooftop concert became the Beatles' final public appearance. Cold London air, wind rattling the amplifiers, police gathering below, and John in a fur coat smiling behind round glasses, delivering lines that barely connect. The version most people know was later edited for Let It Be, removing some repeated "All I Want Is You" lines at the start and finish. Originally, Lennon opened with a chant-like repetition, "All I want is you." Then he immediately undercut it with absurd images and half-formed ideas. That contrast matters. On one side, the group was fracturing, business disputes were mounting, the sessions were famously tense. On the other, John seemed strangely removed from the turmoil, hovering above it, amused by the situation. Dig a Pony captures that headspace. It sounds assured, almost swaggering. The riff is tight, the groove holds steady. George's guitar slices cleanly. Ringo anchors the beat. Musically, it's solid. Lyrically, it's deliberately slippery. Lines like "You can syndicate any boat you row" feel like wordplay for its own sake. John cared less about storytelling and more about texture, how words sounded stacked together. Producer Glyn Johns initially struggled with the loose Get Back material.
Later, Phil Spector refined the album, yet Dig a Pony kept its raw live energy, largely because of the rooftop recording. You can hear the wind, you can sense the strain in John's voice, you can feel the looseness. It almost sounds like Lennon was saying, if everything is unraveling anyway, why not enjoy it? That's Space Cadet mode at its most appealing, detached yet lively, nonsensical yet deliberate, playful while still musically sharp. Number 3. Mean Mr. Mustard, 1969. Where Dig a Pony played with nonsense, Mean Mr. Mustard turns absurdity into a character portrait. Running barely over a minute, this Abbey Road piece feels like a cartoon compressed into a rock song. Mean Mr. Mustard sleeps in the park, shaves in the dark, trying to save paper. It's strange. Who is this person? Why shave in the dark? Why obsess over saving money? The explanation is simple. John found it amusing. The inspiration reportedly came from a newspaper article about a miserly man hoarding wealth while living in poor conditions. Lennon exaggerated it into a grotesque caricature.
He slipped into full cosmic dreamer mode, nudging the details just far enough to feel oddly unreal. Sister Pam, the obsessive penny pinching, the grown-up quirks all stack up like a warped children's tale tossed into a roaring rock mashup. That contrast matters. Mean Mr. Mustard isn't some sprawling saga on its own. It slots into the side 2 medley on Abbey Road, a chain of brief musical snapshots carefully fused by Paul McCartney and producer George Martin. The song first took shape in India during the band's 1968 stay in Rishikesh, where John Lennon poured out material that ranged from painfully intimate to delightfully bizarre. When they tracked it in 1969, Lennon was still savoring that absurdist streak. The performance snaps with precision. Paul's bass line dances and darts. Ringo's Starr keeps the pulse moving. George Harrison adds a sharp guitar edge, yet the design cuts off suddenly. There's no grand payoff waiting at the top. Instead, it glides straight into Polythene Pam. That chopped-up structure strengthens the humor. It feels like flicking through channels inside Lennon's mind. A faint layer of irony colors the delivery. John enunciates with storybook exaggeration, as if reading to grown-ups who catch the wink. It isn't biting political satire, it's simply mean. More than anything, it sounds like Lennon entertaining himself, stretching a tiny idea into studio permanence. Here's what stands out. Even at his most detached, the tune clings to you. The hook lingers behind. The groove keeps nudging forward, proving a key point. Even without aiming for depth, Lennon remained unforgettable. Mean Mr. Mustard captures that drifting mindset in miniature, brief, bold, faintly ridiculous, and totally self-assured in its strangeness. Number 2, Run for Your Life, 1965. This track shifts the tone entirely because Run for Your Life trades surreal whimsy for sharp-edged swagger. Lennon leans into exaggerated jealousy so intensely it borders on dark comedy. Placed as the closer on Rubber Soul, it begins with a lyric that instantly shocks. "I'd rather see you dead, little girl." There's no subtlety there. The line aims to jolt. John later revealed he lifted it from Elvis Presley's Baby Let's Play House, yet instead of toning it down, he amplified the possessiveness into a full narrative of extreme jealousy. Here's where that detached streak shows itself. Lennon often invented personas, amped-up versions of insecurity, sarcasm, or macho bravado. Run for Your Life feels like one of those characters speaking. You better run for your life. The jealousy is cranked to cartoon levels. Catch you with another man. That's the dramatic cutoff. Yet the backing feels lively. The melody bounces along. The brightness of the arrangement clashes with the threatening words, creating a strange tension. The band sounds upbeat. The lyrics sound menacing. That contrast makes it feel almost tongue-in-cheek, as if Lennon is skewering possessive masculinity instead of celebrating it. He enjoyed exploring emotional extremes. Sometimes it came through nonsense, sometimes satire, sometimes by pushing a feeling until it felt theatrical. Run for Your Life captures him trying on the jealous rocker mask, stretching it just enough to blur parody and sincerity. It isn't psychedelic yet, Still, it hints at the detachment and provocation that would later shape his more abstract era. Number 1. Come Together, 1969. Opening Abbey Road, Come Together sounds like it drifted in from another world. Here come Old Flat Top. The character appears instantly, but clarity never follows. Who is he? What's the story? The lyrics unfold like a blues-soaked stream of consciousness collage, half riddle, half inside joke. Walrus, gumboot, mojo filter, toe jam football. They seem meaningful, yet resist translation. Originally, Lennon drafted the phrase as a campaign theme for Timothy Leary's 1969 California gubernatorial bid. Come Together was Leary's slogan. When the campaign collapsed, Lennon reshaped the idea into something looser and far stranger. Political messaging faded away, abstraction took over. Each verse introduces another shadowy figure. Some listeners hear coded nods to the other Beatles, others hear pure surreal sketches. The truth? Lennon relished not explaining it. By then, he was fully at ease in poetic nonsense territory. What truly elevates Come Together, though, is its atmosphere. Paul's bass line pulses thick and hypnotic. Ringo's drums are spare and exact. George's guitar strikes land with restraint. John's vocal stays low and intimate, nearly whispered. That hushed delivery gives the cryptic words gravity. He sings them like sacred truths, even if they never resolve logically. The outcome feels magnetic. The song radiates effortless cool, aloof yet completely in control. Even the slowed tempo was deliberate. Early takes moved faster, but Lennon chose to drag it down into that swampy, confident strut. Space Cadet mode didn't mean careless, it meant liberated. Freed from tidy storytelling, freed from tidy answers, freed from the need to explain. And out of that freedom came one of the Beatles' defining tracks. Unlike the playful bite of Mean Mr. Mustard or the loose fragments of Dig a Pony, Come Together shows something crucial. Even while drifting through lyrical orbit, Lennon could still deliver a classic. John Lennon's so-called Space Cadet phase wasn't about losing direction, it was about bending the rules. Sometimes that meant nursery rhyme surrealism, sometimes heightened characters, sometimes pure wordplay cool. Yet even in playful mode, even while floating above logic, he remained unmistakably John Lennon, and somehow even the strangest lines felt iconic. So which Lennon track captures that cosmic detachment best for you?